can you share what is it, the YouTube link so that I can just post it for the benefit of others?
So it's in the chat box, Samir.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. From Young Academy of India. Yeah, I welcome you all to yet another exciting session of Young Science Leaders series. And in this series, we have with us Dr. Samir Sahasrabudhe. Dr. Samir is right now, he's director of the EMMRC, that is Educational Multimedia Research Center, which is housed within Savitribai Phule University in Pune. And he's also working as a research scientist at IIT Bombay. Earlier, of course, he was working in IIT Bombay. And over there in IIT Bombay in Powai, he managed a learner-centric MOOC, LCM model, which has got wide applause from various online teachers and teaching communities around the world. And he's also an instrumental behind development of IIT Bombay X platform. IIT Bombay X is a open MOOC, it's of the edX, streamlined online education MOOC platform. And he has been instructor of various 3D visualization and animation MOOCs. And with a large number of subscribers, 50,000. Can you ever imagine? Wow, I really want to hear about this experience, Dr. Samir. And he has been nominated for edX Prize in 2019. edX is one of the premier MOOC platform, the edX. And yeah, so he's a nominee. And also he's a winner of the Best Animation Film Award from UNICEF Ludley and FITSI Bath. So fantastic achievements, Dr. Samir, and we are really happy to have you with us today, and yes, so YA is Young Academy of India. We are a community of the young scientists and the PhD students and a lot of people, all the scientific community. And yes, so many of us are actually the faculties. And as we know that it's in COVID-19 period, the lockdown period of last year forced us to migrate to the online mode. And some of us, we all know that we have been into the online teaching for quite some time since the UGC has introduced the Swayam MOOC. I met Dr. Samir first time in Chennai, earlier in Bangalore as well, right, for the Swayam MOOC training program. And he gave me so many tips. One of the great tip which he provided in his course is something called, reflective spot. I hope you will say a little bit more about the reflective spot in today's talk. Over to you, Dr. Samir. And today he is going to talk first on spot your satellite. That is I guess that is the title of your presentation, right? Over to you, Dr. Samir. Is Samir here? I think Dr. Samir got disconnected. No problem. We'll just wait for him. I hope it's not my problem. Could someone please say, am I audible? Dr. Padma?
Yeah, Felix, you are audible.
Yeah, I think it's Dr. Samir has got some.
Yeah, he must be having some technical problem, I think.
Yeah.
Felix, you are not audible now. I think your mic is in unmute state.
Yes, I'm saying that Dr. Samir is here now with us. And yeah, let's. Can you hear me, Dr. Samir?
Yeah, yeah, I can.
Yeah, so I was just introducing you, and I was telling that one of the most important take-home message over your the interaction which we had earlier is something called reflection spot. You introduced me the concept of this, the importance of reflection spot in online teaching, and I introduced you. And I guess that you're going to speak a little bit about yourself and what you have been doing for the last many years, your career, and how did you choose this career. We would like to hear a little bit more about that. And I guess you're going to present something called Spot Your Satellite, right? Over to you.
Yes, thank you. Um, yes, I'm sorry for this little glitch here because I just realized that my network had gone totally off, so there was no chance of mm, doing anything because everything was connected with the network. So as soon as I used a normal phone line, I could talk to Professor Felix. Okay, so thank you, Felix, for this introduction. And now that we have like lost a couple of minutes here and there, uh, let me just begin. And because this is a academy of young academicians, basically, so I have kind of designed this talk around the theme of how you can really plan yourself in your life and in your career, and how you can see that focusing on one step at a time can really help you in getting to the desired goal uh, in the direction that you want to go and all that. So right now the title may seem slightly vague to you, but I'm sure toward the end I will have something interesting to share, and probably so it's most likely like a movie title because I come from the film and media background. I have this tendency of using this technique. So yeah, it looks like a very vague title right now, Spot Your Satellite. So, but let's see, as it unfolds, probably we'll get on to the concept, right? So, yes, so here it is. So what I'm going to talk about today is uh, part of first part of my journey, right from the launch to settling down in the orbit. And the second part is about why so many career changes in one life, and was it necessary, whether it was inevitable, was it planned, in like all sorts of things. And then I'll try to speak to all of you about how do you find your own satellite, and some tips for the young learners and some requests for not so young parents. And let's see how do we go about it. um, so yeah, I just realized, I mean, I had thought about this topic a while ago, and it just coincides with the remains of the satellite falling into the Indian Ocean today. So I did not know that I would have such a synchronization suddenly, but yes. Um, yeah, so I'm going to yeah, just use uh, uh, a timeline right now, and it looks something like this. So there are a couple of kind of chunks that I can show around. So uh, I have to start with my fine arts background. So I'm an advertising professional. I learned Bachelor of Fine Arts in advertising and illustration being my major subject, and that was my graduation. I did it from a place called Aurangabad in Maharashtra, where we have a government school of arts. And this is a topic that I was really passionate about. So I'm not talking about the life before advertising. So I just start off with my graduation. But to tell you a little bit about that, it was a very common complaint, remark in all my progress reports that you get in the schools, that there are two things. One is that this kid is always looking at something else when we are teaching in the class, and even during the exam period, that Out of those 3 hours, this boy can be seen like looking around here and there and not concentrating on writing. That was a very common remark. And second remark was more unique because the remark said that Samir's notebooks are typically filled up from the back side where there are all cartoons and illustrations, and he makes those small flip books on the corner of the notebooks, and very little from the front side where actually we have to write the class notes in history and geography and so on and so forth. And most of the time my books used to be filled up from the backside because backside typically we use for rough work and all that, and I used to just enjoy drawing, sketching or something like that during making doodles. So these two very unique remarks, really, I remember those. In fact, I have stored some of them just as a memory. But it was very clear in my mind that I am more interested in drawing, painting, illustration. So I was lucky enough that I had a fine arts college in the city itself. So I joined this particular college called the Government School of Arts of Aurangabad, and I completed my degree in advertising. I don't remember really making waves during my academics in that college. I was a very average student, and used to just complete various. I was really overwhelmed by the art and various topics that were thrown into us, because those were not the topics till my 10th standard. Till 10th, it was like all history, geography, civics, biology, chemistry, and all that. And here I was looking out for a history of art in India, how what is the greatness of the sculptures in Ellora, paintings in Ajanta, the stoop at Sarnath, and right from the sketches in Bhimbetka, and so many things were so new to me. I wondered how they were not covered in my history at all. So that was the period. And those 5 years mainly was about that, and it was heavy on craft. I was made to like draw every day at least 20 sketches. And I remember that because you cannot really sit and imagine about 20 sketches or 20 poses of people, I used to travel to a nearby bus stand, the city bus station, where there used to be free models for me. They used to be just standing, waiting for the bus, somebody buying some essentials or food, or the bus conductors resting in the canteen. So these all models were like really free of cost for me, waiting for me to be sketched. And bunch of friends used to go there every day after the college was over, bicycle to that place, do your 20 sketches of the day because you had to submit it next day, go home, and then the rest of the things. So that is what was my kind of life during my college days. But after that, like every other advertising student, I also wanted to get into the advertising agency space, and I wanted to learn advertising tricks and techniques of commercial advertising. So I just decided that I should move out of Aurangabad because there was not much of a advertising scenario there. So I moved to a place called as Pune, where I'm sitting right now. And that time, Pune was like coming up with various advertising agencies, and some big agencies were trying to get in Pune and settle down there. So it was a very good kind of training track for me. And that is when I actually caught up with some of the interesting assignments. I just want to share one of that. Okay, so the illustration that you see here, it's like a multi-fold thing. So I don't know, the picture is very kind of maybe shaky or unclear. But this was the assignment given to me when our advertising agency was going to shift from one place to another place. We wanted to just send out a card to our clients and customers that we are shifting. So it was as simple as that. But because I was really bubbling with creativity and I was wanting to make my place heard and seen by people, I suggested to the art director that maybe can I do an illustration of that? And he said, okay, show me something. And I actually did a long strip. It was almost like the size of a newspaper, like open newspaper. And this is that thing. So where I have shown how an advertising agency will move from one place to another. So we had the typeface with paper rolls flowing off, and we had the person from the media carrying all the printed newspapers with him. We had the spray gun artist. Those days there was no Photoshop, so there was only a spray gun to finish off. There was this lady with the phone, because she was the receptionist, so she was carrying her phone. There were some managers who used to never move their legs at all for anything, so they were carried in a palki, and we could see the owner or the creative director of the place in a car with his chair attached to his car, kind of thing. So I made a cartoon of every individual in our agency in some way or the other, and there are some two people you can see here carrying the board of the agency and so on and so forth. In fact, somewhere in the front you see the person who every day opens the office, so that was also shown there. So this advertising was from art school to the agency. And this transition was having all these factors like visual design. I learned illustration, painting, art history. I already spoke about advertising, arts and ideas, and so on and so forth. Uh, During this period, I realized that my illustration is something that is very prominent. In that time it was. So I can't say that anymore, but yes, that was. So I decided to pursue that some post-graduation education. And the only thought which came into my mind was animation. Because of these illustrations that I was doing to the agency, almost every day I was churning out a new cartoon, new illustration or something. So I just got into the zone that maybe animation is the right kind of education that I should pursue in the next stage. Then I looked out, and there were only two, three organizations, institutions which were offering a real good course in animation. One of them obviously was National Institute of Design at Ahmedabad. I was not sure about how will I get it, but I actually cleared their entrance test. However, I flunked their interview because they told me that you seem to be selling your drawings much more than creating it. So maybe you are not fit right now. I was dejected, but I kept trying. And I got into a place called the Z Institute of Creative Arts. Now, this was started in Hyderabad, and this was year 1995. So, as you can see, the green dot here actually talks about where I had my education, and the blue dot here talks about my jobs. So the green dot here again was my postgraduate diploma that I learned at Hyderabad, and I was really fortunate to have some of the best teachers. These teachers came from Russia dominantly, and there were also Indian teachers. In fact, one of the teachers was Dimanta Vyas. So for those who don't know this name, he is the one who has created the Tare Zameen Par animation that you must have seen in the movie. And recently he has joined as the Chief Creative Officer at Byju's, which is a very big tech company in India right now. This journey, the animation learning, gave me a chance to learn the craft, which was very painful. You have to draw everything by hand, and solid imagination required, visualization power required. And uh, after completion of that, I joined a studio to create animation films. So just to show you a glimpse of what we learned there, I have a particular thing to show. This is slightly later on, but why I am showing this is a very important reason behind this. The I told you that it requires craft of animation, like the drawing part, but it also requires a lot of creativity. Animation per se requires a lot of creativity. You could be able to visualize various things, and would be able to communicate using this technique. Various styles of animation. There's not just Tom and Jerry that you see. There are clay animation. There are stylized animation where the drawing is not as perfect as what you see realistically or something like that. You have 3D animation. You have various such things, and we need to learn prominent exponents of that craft. Learn the film language. What is editing? What is various um, uh, shots, camera shots required, and music which will go with that. What is the background which can be seen there, which will suit the whole thing. all these things as a part of animation production was my learning there. So this is not exactly the film during that period, but I'm showing this because this is my thought, but my wife, who is also an animator, has animated it. So that actually underlines the point, like it is the thing that you need to learn the creativity as well as the craft of that. So this is interesting film, I think I can show. Can you get the audio, please? Somebody can pause and tell me. Can you get the audio of the film?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, great. I'll play.
Chubby cheeks, dimple chin, rosy lips, teeth little, curly hair, very fair, eyes are blue, lovely too. Teacher's pet, is that you? No, no, no. Father's pet, is that you? No, no, no. Mother's pet, is that you? No, no, no. Brother's pet, is that you?
Right. So, as you can see, it's a very small concept that she is nobody's pet. Now, how do you get that idea to convert that into animation film? What are the types of visuals that we use? What is the type of music that you use? What is the type of the fonts that you use? And as you can see, some of the places I was not sure about the font, so I have used calligraphy for that. So I have done the calligraphy for the word she or the word girl. So these are the things that actually expand your vision about communication as a whole. So it is not just about what you draw on paper and how do you animate that, what is the software, whether it has a particular keyboard shortcuts that are required. So all these things are along with it, but what actually means is the creativity part, which I just wanted to highlight here. And the second part, which I was talking about, is the animation production, which is a very, very commercially created animation films, and how you can actually use them to communicate things for the audiences. All these actually make impact. So I will just show you a small glimpse of similar of the animation production, which I was part of when I was working with Z Telefilms. After I completed my course in Hyderabad, we were working on a film for ZTV, and that was my animation job experience actually, where I was working for India's first animation and live action combined film. So this is a glimpse of that, and it's a very interesting thing. So my contribution here is the editing part and the composition part, like how the live action character will sit inside a animation set and will interact with the animated characters, and also be in sync for the music. So that is what happened.
मेरी जान मेरी जान मेरी जान मेरी जान है देखना दिलदार तारों की तारी में मेरी जान देखना दिलदार तारों की अटारी में मेरे नैना के दोनों खट खुले हैं इंतजारी में मेरी जान
Okay. Yeah, I think a small glimpse should be enough to talk about what I just wanted to convey. So this was my part of animation, and then that was the point I started realizing that if animation is so powerful that the kids just love it and they don't even blink during watching such animation flicks, then why can't we use that into uh, educational purpose? And that brought me to one of the best academic places in the country, which is IIT Bombay. So I joined here and worked with some of the best brains around, created some of the interesting educational multimedia under their guidance, which also became my PhD topic. So I completed my PhD under their guidance. And to just show you what happens there, here is one of the examples. So this is a distillation column animation simulation that we had created to explain the process of distillation where the vapors, so this is a cross section that we can see. This is beyond the video now. So we can now see what is happening inside this particular distillation column, because otherwise it is so hot inside that you cannot put any cameras there. But now we can see that using animations, how the water will overflow and then it will come to the lowest container here and the vapors will be created because of the heat provided there, how it will go down or go up the whole thing, get condensed, and then it will get accumulated. All these things are animated using certain softwares. But the most important point here is that how do you visualize these things? These are scientific visualizations. There are methodologies for that. You have to apply various principles. And the other part of being in the research community is that you have to publish about all these things. You have to conduct user studies and uh, talk about it to the academic community so that others can also use the same practice. So that was what was very interesting. I think I have another example probably here. But yes, in addition to that, I also enjoyed mentoring during that period to various students who were in their summer internships or doing their final year projects. So here is one more example of that. Like, how do you use educational technology or things like animation, visualization, putting the technology together? How do you actually convert that to a very meaningful and usable product? So this is one more interesting example. This we call it as math amazing. And what it does is, actually I'll just skip to the point where it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, so this is the screen that you'll see on the computer, and your computer has to be connected with a scanner, which is a Microsoft Kinect, so which can scan your entire body and convert that into a skeleton. So whatever gestures you do, computer will capture those gestures. That is the idea behind it. Because we realized that particular hardware did not come up with educational games. It only used to come up with entertaining games. So we just decided to marry the entertainment with education. So you stand in front of that, you see the skeleton happening here. Now, if you bend forward, like this girl is showing here, you can see the character will move forward on screen, and you have to take your hand out to make the character go to the right hand side of this on the screen, like this, and again bend forward and take the right hand out. And if you do it at the wrong time, you just get into water. So we these are three students who actually developed this game in a matter of 2 months, and we actually tested it at a very remote village in Maharashtra, where we could actually meet the students. And the reason was their teacher had got the best teacher award and the Microsoft Kinect as a award. So they were extremely happy to get such a game that they could play around with. And one of the interesting feedback the teacher gave us was that After this game has been installed in our system, the attendance is 100% because now every kid wants to come here and play the game. Now, this is what actually means making interesting use of educational technology. And that's where I now work into this domain of educational technology. I have joined a place that the Educational Multimedia Research Center that I was just telling you. And there, what we do is we create e-learning courses and trainings and designing the studios for recording, editing, and producing educational media content. In parallel, we also publish, do research about what is the need of the hour and how you can manage various projects and so on and so forth. All in all, the objective is to make a change to the society in terms of how we can actually make it better. So that's where this whole story goes towards. So yeah, I thought I will have a small kind of walkthrough through my career uh, to showcase what all has happened till I reach the point where I'm working with educational multimedia around. So yeah, anything that you want to comment upon?
It's fine, Samir. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Any other question that you can see in the live feed? Then you can just let me know because I have not seen the discussion chats here.
Okay, are you done with your presentation?
No, no, no. I'm just halfway in between. But if there are questions, I can still take them.
Okay, so I was just thinking like when you were presenting about this animation
Yeah.
and especially that game, game, I mean, the motion sensation, I mean, what is that? The one little
Max
girl is moving her body. So to control that one, I was just thinking about Nintendo Y,
yeah.
the motion controller. So it's kind of similar, right? The way that it works.
Yes. Yes. It is similar.
Yeah. I did my PhD in Japan, so I was there for like 5 years, and during that time, I know that anime is playing a huge role in the Japanese culture, like Naruto and Pokemon. I mean, it's a tremendous field.
Right.
Somehow it's missing here, right? In India, the culture, I don't know, the anime is not that picked up here.
Right, right. Yeah, animation has picked up. Unfortunately, if you see animation, most of the time is has become kind of. We are mostly known for our outsourced work. That is the problem right now. So we are not known for our own IPR. Our own IP is very handful IPs that we have, like Chota Bheem or maybe Hanuman or Krishna or are like very handful of IPs that we actually hold here. Most of the work, we are known for good animation. Indians are reputed in animation worldwide, and lot of international studios have collaborated with Indians for getting the animation done. In fact, most of the work that we have done has also got us Oscars and all that. But most of this awards and the accolades have gone to the studios who have actually hired us. So that is what is kind of holding back Indian animation. But I can see now there is a very bright future for animation in education, especially in the pandemic period where everything went online. I think animation for educational purpose is definitely going to be one of the important things. And that is where I just thought I'll share something with the academicians who are watching today. Uh, that if you want to try out something in animation, then how can you do that? So that is one takeaway that I'm going to give you out. But before that, because you had also said that maybe you can comment on something like how they can also pursue this kind of thing. I just thought I will add up a couple of slides on that. So that is, I have it here. I'll just go next. Right. Okay. So one of the things that I have realized is that there are a couple of stages that you can realize before you jump into it. So if you want to take up a career, you need to know everything about it. And now it is possible. Like when I was a student, I had very few avenues to know about what is happening in animation field, and who are the um, kind of exponents of animation in India. Except like two or three names, I did not have anything else to see. The only animations I suppose we used to see those times were this Tree of Unity made by Films Division. We knew names like Bhim Sen and Ram Mohan, maximum. Only one or two advertisements used to carry animation in that. So it was a very, very small domain that time, not like full blown right now what we see. So right now you have opportunity to basically know everything about whatever you want to know about it. Read and hear everything that you want to pursue. That is the step number one I suggest. The second is meeting and interacting with and the professionals in that area. So if you want to become architect, then my suggestion is that you just actually meet couple of architects before you take a call, because that will help you, give you insight about how, what is architecture, what it takes to be an architect, what are the pros and cons, various things. And you have to first of all ask yourself a question whether this is the thing that I can pursue my life. If you get yes as an answer, and only then actually you can really think of joining it. And the third one is about whenever you have joined such a course, it's not the end of it, because just going through the course is not going to get a guaranteed career out of it. During the course, you have to start exploring what are the various possibilities that the course brings up, and try to figure out that whether I am good for one of them. So that is where I am going to talk about the satellite part, and for that we need to learn the structure of a satellite. So this is what the structure of a satellite looks like, and this is slightly philosophical or technical maybe, but maybe if you provide if you give some attention to it, you will be able to figure out what I am trying to say. So what I'm telling you is that you see a big rocket launcher. Actually, whenever you see a launch of a satellite, you actually see a big uh, rocket launcher in the foreground, that whatever see on the countdown and all that. But in fact, the spacecraft or the satellite is only this much in the entire thing. It's so small piece of the whole thing, but it takes all these things to get this up there. And what happens is that whenever the satellite is going out from here, like when the rocket launcher is starts off, then you see that the rocket motors first are pushed apart, and then there is the first stage where a big section of the rocket launcher is dislodged. Then you see the second stage being dislodged, then the actual shell breaks open, and then you see the spacecraft is released, and then it is placed in the orbit, and then it starts functioning on its own, and so on and so forth. So I have tried to use this analogy. So we need to know about this particular spacecraft. Uh, we need to keep that in mind, that this rocket launcher is not the satellite. That we need to understand first. It's a very, very broad domain. So you are into BSc or BA or BCom. It's a very, very broad domain. You are in engineering or fine arts or medical, whatever. You are in a very, very broad domain, like science or arts or commerce or maybe languages. So choose that domain first of all. It's a very, very broad domain. Then when you go for a degree, like you have to pursue various courses diligently and keep searching your passion within that. So even if I am taking a course on commerce, maybe the BCom, within those 3 years and all the courses that you're taking, you have to go through them diligently. That is one thing. But what is that you like the most out of all these things? That you have to first like start pinpointing it. Later on, you have to use your free time, like the summer vacations, the winter vacations, and any other time that you have during the week and all that, to get into internships, summer internship projects, or online courses, to excel in those subjects that you have picked up. Like, okay, this looks like interesting for me. So for example, if economics is that what you love, or in microbiology is that what you love, then maybe you can actually start going slightly deeper into that using all these avenues which are available right now. then when you are certain about it, time comes when you can actually pursue your post graduation. That is where you actually focus down on that particular topic rather than a generic post graduation you can actually fix. So like in my case, I was telling you that I started off with a fine arts background and realized that drawing and illustration and cartoons is my true calling. So I kept working on that. Even in advertising agencies, I focused on my illustration styles and various drawings and all that. And when the time came, I actually joined a post-graduation diploma. Again, these are big issues that we need to be aware of. Whether the degree has value, whether the course has value, and all that is definitely important. But if you are passionate about it, I have full faith that you can make most out of the opportunity that you get. Similar with me, that this course that I had learned was not a authorized, what you say, authenticated course by government bodies, but it was a very highly professional course. So it gave me exposure to the basic professionalism that is required in animation production, and that has helped me even now. So you have to make these calls at times, which is a debatable point, but barring that, you can sharpen the skills. And finally, you have to sustain. So that is where you actually are into the orbit, and then you have to just remember what is that focus that will keep you excited as you go along. So this is kind of the analogy I wanted to use, that if you can think of this small spacecraft, uh, when you actually start sharpening your focus from the broad one, which is at the domain level. So from the rocket launcher to the spacecraft or the satellite is what I therefore I have titled it as Spot Your Satellite as the title of this thing. This is what I wanted to suggest. So yeah, now you can ask any questions because I am done with the presentation part.
Yes, Samir, you can please exit your presentation. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can exit the presentation window so we can see your face.
Oh,
Yeah, I really enjoyed the interacting with you and your presentation, especially the final slide on that rocket launcher and how can you actually compare that as an analogy for the career. Fantastic. I really enjoyed it. So I have multiple questions to you. Of course, we have a co-moderator of the session, Dr. Padma Silvaraj. And Dr. Padma is associate professor at the Mednapalli Institute of Technology at Andhra Pradesh. Dr. Padma, over to you. Would you like to start with the questions? Do you have any questions to Dr. Samir?
Yes, Felix, I have a few questions. Few questions in the sense one question. But before that, I want to appreciate Dr. Shamir for the wonderful representation because of the creativity. Even though as academician we are preparing presentation and we are delivering, but this is quite different, and the tips that too, on seeing the topic itself, I was thinking what yeah, multimedia technique people will be representing about satellite. But in the last slide, as you said, it was quite amazing. He is completely focusing towards academic, apart from professors like us. It's quite good, sir. One thing I want to get you from this is suggest some of the tools which we can use as a professors, because completely we are uh, uh, during this pandemic situation, that too this situation is quite dangerous and we are completely through online. If you suggest some tools, means it will be quite helpful for our people in order to prepare their own education media to give quality education, I think so.
yeah. So I frankly, the list is really long. And what I have realized over a period is that education technology tools have also matured over a period of time. Especially in the pandemic area, they have gone really up to the hilt now. So we can actually get you a list of things. So for example, when we talk about presentation skills, just making of the presentations, everyone uses a typical presentation tools such as PowerPoint or OpenOffice or Google Slides nowadays. But my suggestion to you all is that whenever you use Google Slides also, try to use templates provided by various providers when you use Google. So for example, in my slides also, if you look at the first slide, I have given the name of the template provider. And so they give, so I just Googled for like, is there a Google slide presentation with a satellite theme? And I got it. Okay, so I did not create it myself, but now you can see the impact is very nice. So such things are important, that what you want to convey, you can actually get that. Open source and free software movement is really picking up now, and maybe all of us can make use of that. In terms of the next level presentation skills, we have things such as Prezi, which can give you animated presentations where you can actually zoom in and zoom out of your presentation as you want. It's like a animated mind map. You can create a mind map where you can place all your elements at various points, and then you can actually zoom in and zoom out. It's called as Prezi, Prezi. So that could be an interesting tool. Uh, in order to get other mediums, so you have tools such as podcasting tools. So if you are not if you are interested in sharing something only over audio, probably you can use podcasting tools such as for various podcast tools are available. uh, and one particular tool that I am expert at, and I kind of keep teaching that all along, is called as Blender. It is a 3D animation tool called as Blender, Blender. And I'm going to share one screen with all of you, if time permits, and show you a online course that I have kept online for free, so that anyone who wants to learn Blender can learn that. And as a teacher, I would like to tell you that it may or may not be viable for a teacher to spend time in learning an animation tool themselves. But I would strongly recommend that you can encourage your students to learn this tool. And through the students, you can actually create interesting animations. And I have shown you the distillation column animation just now, and I can show you some more animations. We have an entire repository of some 450 such animations, which is free of cost, and that is called as Oscar, OSCAR, IIT Bombay. But point is that the teacher should focus mostly on scientific communication techniques, and maybe encourage their students to learn these techniques, because they are very fast at that. And because it is their subject, their chapters, their sections, their concepts, they are very much interested in contributing. So I wanted to show you one more such interesting example. But if you have any other question, by the time I'll just prepare the link and all that, and I'll just share that. Yeah, you can go with the second question by the time.
All right. As I agree with your point about the steep learning curve, most of these animation softwares have got very steep learning curve. And as we are teachers, we don't really have any time to learn, pick up the entire animation software. So we end up hiring a professional animation professional. The problem is that, of course, it's too expensive. They charge in per seconds, and it's in thousands of rupees. So I mean, what is actually, is there any easy solution for us? For example, my subject is biology, and animation we use quite often for describing the, signal transduction, like one enzyme to another enzyme, and the pathways. So to make a simple kind of animation, is there any workaround? And especially, is there any way for the online based solution for it? So instead of installing something online, I mean, just like drag and drop to make a ready to use kind of animation just for pathways, for example.
Uh, Not like drag and drop, um, not that easy, but there are various toolkits and object repositories available. And I wanted to show you that, but before that, I just show you the online course available, and then I'll go to that. So this is the course that I have online. I have just pasted the link of this course on the chat box. Maybe it can be pushed to the YouTube link also for people who are interested. And as you can see, it is designed in a very professional manner. So you see this kind of a book, and it has a book interface also. So you can click on this, and you can actually turn the page. You can see the contents here. Now, if I want to see something on maybe basic transformations, maybe. So I'll click on that. It will go to that chapter. The pages will roll to that page. Then if I click on transformations here, the video will start about transformations. And this video is actually a YouTube video. So I can full screen it. I can see this video where you will see the explanation going on using the slides and the person in picture. You can also see a software explanation going on in the background, where you can see the full screen of the software, what is to be clicked, where it is to be clicked, and you can actually see the slides explaining all these things. Yes, so you can see what are the keyboard shortcuts, what are the mouse shortcuts, and everything is explained, and it is shown on screen how you can do that. So the logic is that you have to play this video, start the application in parallel, maybe pause the video at times, and try to learn through the software as you go along. So this is a completely tutorial based training material available, and not just the videos, but it will also have a small questionnaire below that. So you have to actually answer this. And once you submit the thing, it will tell you whether you are right or wrong. And if you are right, why you are right. And if you're wrong, why you are wrong. Both things will be told here. And then actually you can go to the next thing by turning the page and then learn about camera setup or rendering setup and so on and so forth. And this is possible to be actually learned at your own pace. So right now, I can tell you that this course requires no registration, no fees, and no certificate will be issued after you learn this, because this is pure knowledge. And especially for people who want to try out whether they are interested in animation or not, my sincere suggestion is that go through this course. If you can actually make most of the concepts run in this course, then maybe you can decide to jump into the career of animation rather than first deciding to go into animation, spending money in enrolling yourself, and then realizing that you are not made for it. That could be a very bad scenario. So this is much better to do that. And to answer your second question about is there any easy thing available? So there are multiple such websites, but one of the thing which I remember immediately is called as Bio Blender. So I'll just share a screen here. This is a software which actually allows visualization of proteins and various biological entities. So they use the public repository of protein data bank, and you can actually, each molecule is described, and you can actually take it into your software and simulate its performance, because it has physics attached to it. So you can actually give them, and there is a gallery. It has in fact, I don't know how long it will take, but they are telling that it is not very difficult to take it up. But all these things like how red blood cells flow inside the blood and all that, these kind of visualizations are easily possible to be created using BioBlender. And I'm very happy to note here that one of the mentees of YAI, her name is Madhura Kamath. So she has shown interest in pursuing medical animation. So she has joined me, and I will be mentoring her. And she had just started the course. She had just started the Blender training course first. And within a couple of days, she would be migrating to BioBlender. And I hope our objective is that by the end of our internship, we should be able to create some biological visualizations. So if you have any wish list, maybe you can push it to us. We'll try to cater to that. That is what we are going to do.
Yeah, thanks, Samir. It's a pleasure, and yeah, you have been mentoring one of our AI intern too. You know, the summer intern Mentex mentor. We call it as Mentex, and I'm really happy that you are volunteering your time for mentoring our intern. I mean, it's a yeah, it's a privilege of for these mentors, and of course, you are inducted as the fellow of our Young Academy, and I will send you the links and more details on those slides. And yeah, uh, I my second next question is about apart from of course the animation, what are your general tips on improving the online teaching? Because most of us are into online teaching. I mean, almost I mean, I would say 100%, right? Here in India, everybody is managing online teaching. So is there any some simple tips and tactics over the years that would you like to share with us?
Uh, yes. Okay. One of the I will just go ahead again into uh, slide, another slide actually, because that will tell. But this is an important slide, and especially the teachers who are looking at it can definitely contact us. In fact, they can contact the other people who have joined me on this call right now. Professors from various parts of the country who have contributed to this taking up this model. Uh, so there are definitely four types of content that we create at a very broad level, and all of us know that. One is video. We have lot of assessment activities, as in question answers, quizzes, and all that. We have reading material, and we have a chunk of discussion forums. So these are typically four types of interactions that we have. What we suggest is, at a very base level, don't have videos which are monologues. So that's the first tip that I can give you, that instead of, even if it is a short video, there is always an attention span which is in place. So people will get bored if it is a monologue. So however small videos you make, try to have a dialogue in that. And how do you do that? You can insert a reflection spot where people will be able to, it is not a question like, okay, have you understood everything? That is not a reflection spot, because nobody says no to that. Everyone will say yes and go ahead. So that is not a reflection spot. You have to ask a question where the learners will be able to opine about what they have heard, or they can reflect upon their understanding, or they can do some micro practice. It could be a MCQ, it could be a short answer, but it has to be like that. Every learning dialogue should be followed up with a learning by doing activity, so that you can actually see whether the assimilation is happening about what they have learned. So that is the second tip, that just don't leave videos orphaned. You need to attach a small activity for every video, so that people will be able to do it, perform it, and learn through learning by doing. So that is the point. Number two. The point number three is about the external reading material, that normally a lot of people give reading material, but it is not organized. So what we suggest here is that uh, try to put them into buckets and label them, rather than just giving a long list of 50 reading material. Try to keep them into separate boxes, like this is the thing if you want to pursue certain knowledge into this area, and also have a small activity at the end of every reading material, so that they would be able to solve it after reading it seriously. So that can be an interesting thing. And the fourth one is the discussion forum. Most of the discussion forum we see are very flat. They don't have any exciting thing going on there. A lot of people don't even visit that. So the suggestion was that you could actually use a focus question every week for the discussion, to make it exciting, because then people would like to comment about what your question has been asked, and then try to interact with others, and peer interaction can actually happen there. All these things actually contribute to something that we call as learner-centric MOOC model. And we have a beautiful website to showcase various examples of that and implementation of that, which I request my colleagues who have joined. These are professors from various parts of the country. We have Daisy Wadhwa from Ludhiana. We have Ambili from Kochi and Aleppi. We have Natasha Gomes from Goa. All and I think any more people. We have Ajita Deshmukh from Pune. So they have joined and they can just keep posting. So as you can see, they were posting already whenever I was speaking about certain topics or websites. So that's how you actually bring interaction in the discussions that are going on. So yes, any
Yeah.
other questions from?
Yes, great, Samir. And I guess this is the same model, right? The four quadrant approach that the SWAYAM is also implementing. I guess this is the same kind of learner centric MOOC, right? Do you have any points about SWAYAM?
Yes, yes, that's the same one.
Okay, good. So yeah, so now I would like to have a couple of, some comments or further suggestions on improving online teaching and animation from, other colleagues. Right now we have it in our board. Let me call one by one. Ambili, would you like to say a few words? You can unmute and speak on, and you can also put on your videos. All of you, if you have any comments about today's talk, and if you have further tips that Dr. Samir forgot to mention, or if you have some other interesting ideas, we most of us are teachers, and the young science and under training, and PhD students. So if you have some tips on improving our online teaching and animation too, yeah.
Uh, Yes, I would like to add that these reflection spots are very effective. In according to my experience, what I have felt that our students will never be just passive listeners. It will really help us in getting them engaged the content of the video. So it is a very good way of making them engaging by adding the reflection spots onto the video, our lecture videos.
Yeah, I
Yes.
agree with you, Ambili, because in my experience as well, this reflection spot, too much of monologue is quite boring, especially in the asynchronous, the teaching, the recorded videos. Like the teacher keep on speaking, flooding with information. It's better to stop for a while so that whatever the concepts that we spread, students also get some time to assimilate and think about it, read between the lines. There is a big difference, right? When we read a book, be it a textbook or a non-fiction or fiction, we can take a break and we can think about it. So that is missing in the online teaching, isn't it? So that reflection spot, I think it's a very important tip. Any other comments from any other participants?
Yeah. Hello, Felix. I would just like to add to what Ambali has mentioned, that in order to bring in more engagement in the online teaching scenario, I would like to suggest that apart from just looking at the tools uh, that we want as teachers, that we want to know, it is also important to look into the pedagogy through which we can engage our students. And the point that I would like to mention along with that is that including discussion forums as the part of our online teaching scenario is going to help in that regard. Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah. Hi, Felix. I'll just take what Daisy said a little bit ahead. For the discussion forum, most of the colleges and the universities do have their WhatsApp groups for the subjects. Every teacher is making per subject or maybe per course or something like that. So those can be also excellent sources of discussion forum where the discussion can carry, I mean, just it can just go on, like you said, that maybe after a book, after you read a literature piece or something like that, you can still keep the students engaged. So it's not about attendance, but it is about engagement. And engagement is not only during the class, but much beyond the class also.
So they just learn and stay connected and be engaged. Thank you.
A great tip, yes, about the WhatsApp groups. Yeah, why not? Any
Hello,
other?
sir.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm Natasha here. I have a question and fact for Dr. Samir. I was hoping to know, Dr. Samir, if you can also let us know about how you can leverage collaboration and networking to help us build skills that are required to, excel in our chosen fields.
So, how do you leverage networking to excel in your domains? Is that the question?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, so that is one of the topics that I are very is very nearer to my heart, and uh, last 1 year has been one of the greatest example of that. That theory is known by the mm, title called as communities of practice. So this actually means that like-minded people come together. They practice the best kind of ways of disseminating that, and keep maybe modifying it, because they are interacting with each other. They come to know about the flaws and some of the strongholds of that, and they build upon a knowledge network on that, and then they actually subsequently share it with the world, so that then it again feeds to creation of another communities of practice in the similar domains or some allied domains. We have an example of that right now going on here. So this team actually is my COP, or communities of practice, which got together during the pandemic period. And in last 1 year or so, we have been able to offer multiple things, uh, right from creating e-learning courses, or some modules for some people, full-fledged MOOCs, or even offering faculty development programs. I think together we have been able to offer more than 100 such faculty development sessions across the country in last 1 year. We have also published papers at various conferences in journals, and so the list just continues. And also, I'm happy to say that this group also has their own communities of practice now in their domains. Sometimes, like somebody is in computer science, or somebody is in psychology or language teaching, and various things. So the community effort is very important. That's why I like the YI concept and the Mentex concept that I think has been built up. And this technique of getting a speaker, making him or her a fellow, and make him or her to mentor some of the participants, and in turn actually that feeds back into the community as the body of knowledge, is a very nice idea, I suppose, and I like it how Felix is doing this. So it's nice to see that, and definitely it's a sure shot way of addressing this, because only when we interact with the community we realize the ground level realities of implementation. So what works in IIT Bombay may not work in DY Patil University, and also may not work in college in Ludhiana. So when the inputs come from various parts of the country, from various parts of various domains of knowledge, and various levels of implementation, we realize how we can make the product more robust. And that is what has happened exactly with the learner-centric model, and it has matured over a period of time because of these communities of practice. So I think, yeah, the answer could be that.
Yes, Dr. Samir, it's fantastic that I'm really happy that you're also into the community building and you have built up a fantastic community of volunteers, and they're really passionate. I can see that from the kind of representations today we had it. And yes, the community building is really core and essential in the AI as well. Our only motto is to build up the Indian, the science community, and to serve as a platform for working for each other. And we are actually into like the science shows that the volunteers are actively translating to the local language. The Curiosity Science Show that we're releasing on every month, and the volunteers are translating to the languages. And YAI, some of you are actually never heard of this organization before. It has, of course, it's a very new one, only born in the lockdown period of the last year. And if you want to become a member of the Young Academy of India, it's completely free. Just fill up a form. You're already a member. And one step ahead is if you would like to be inducted as an associate of the YAI, and then you would need to undergo 2 months internship with a fellow of the YAI. So that is called Mentex program. So if you complete the 2-month internship, you are associate of the YAI. Again, internship is completely free, completely virtual. And if you want to become one more step ahead, YAI fellow, then you have to prove yourself to be a professionally excelling like Dr. Samir. I invited him, and today onwards, he's the fellow of the Young Academy. That's it. No money involved, and it's completely open and transparent and interdisciplinarity. That is what we are working towards building an India. Of course, modern India. Yes. Samir, would you like to share something about? I mean, I can see your slide. You have some points to share.
I just thought that as we go towards the end, if some people want to contact me, I can just share the contact details and all that.
Yeah, go ahead, please. Yes, Samir.
It's already more than around 90 minutes that we have. So, right. Yes. So, yeah, you can search for Samir Sahasrabudhe Talks, where you will find this presentation also uploaded. And you can reach me on director_MMRC at Uni Pune, or visit my website samirs.wordpress.com for not just this presentation, but many other presentations which are already available up there. So yeah, that is what I just thought I'll share there.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Dr. Samir, and it's a privilege to have you with us and spending almost more than 1.5 hours with us, in this program. And I'm really happy you shared several tips, and also you're sharing your the email address, of the EMRC's official email address of the University of Pune. Yeah, thanks a lot from the bottom of my heart, and from the YAI. Of course, you're welcome as a fellow of Young Academy. And yes, I'm really thankful to you. I can see that DuckDuckGo, right? Privacy oriented. Why to give everything to Google, right? I'm also a big fan of DuckDuckGo. Yeah, thanks a lot, Samir. It's amazing to have you with us. And yeah, I will see you again. And I'm looking forward to see the internship, how is it going on the medical animation. And thank you for volunteering for that. And yeah, from YAI family, thanks for watching this young science leader. And please take care of yourself. And I will see you again in the next episode of the YAI YSL in the next Sunday. Until then, goodbye, and please take care. Please wear mask, maintain physical distancing, right? And follow all the government protocols. Then please take care. And if you can, please take care of someone else too.